coaches to speak?
Okay.
You want to hear from any of your coaches or any of the team players?
Yeah,
the runners?
Athletic director.
Please. Any of the kids can speak?
My name is Chris O'Donnell. I'm the athletic director at Loyola High School. We'd just like to thank the council for this recognition. We're very proud of our young men, both their performance in cross country, but also the way that they represent Loyola High School and the city of Los Angeles so well. So thank you very much for this honor.
Introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Alejandro Salinas. On behalf of the team and the coaches, we really want to thank you for the support. We want to thank you for keeping the facilities open, and we just want to look forward to next season. Hopefully we'll be back. We'll see you soon. But thank you so much for everything that you guys have done, and just expressing gratitude. Thank you so much.
Okay. Yeah, that's it. Colleagues, thank you so very much. I'm going to run out of here now.
We do have, Mr. Cedillo, one speaker on the queue, Councilmember Huizar.
Thank you very much. And thank you, Mr. Cedillo, for bringing in this wonderful group of students. And, Coach, congratulations to you for committing your time, effort, and energy to these great young men. And we all know Loyola High School and its diversity and preparing young men to be well-rounded and leaders and service to others, which is so, so important. And it's great to see these young men here achieve another achievement. And congratulations. Keep it going. Your coach said some great words right now in terms of the public assets that are out there for all of us to take advantage of and use. And you in the future will have it before you to make sure that these assets continue on for future generations as well. Thank you so much, and congratulations, Coach, and to the students and to the school.
Councilman Huizar, you didn't mention what school you went to in Boyle Heights.
We had a history ourselves of cross-country CIF championships.
Brother Tom.
Our coach here, very familiar with Brother Tom, who we named our football stadium after. A long career of preparing young men like today for cross-country and being well-rounded students. Congratulations, Coach, and go Mustangs and go Cubs.
All right, let's give it up one more time. Congratulations. Thank you so much. All right, while they're making their way to the back, we're going to go ahead and take items 25. We are reopening as well on that, as we said. So, Robert Oliveira, we have one card, Robert Oliveira, on item 25. And before we do that, I'll turn it over while Robert's making his way up to Councilmember Blumenfield.
Great, thank you, Mr. President. So, just to set the stage here, this is a motion I submitted in response to the Port's audit of the mitigation measures contained in the 2009 lease agreement for the Tray Pack terminal. The audit was voluntary, so I want to thank the Port for putting it forward and being more transparent. But the audit found a failure of 3 of the key critical mitigation measures that were required under the Tray Pack lease agreement. We held a hearing on this, and it was important that we did that. But one of the things happened, some of our folks, in fact, our labor partners on this, were given some bad information and told they didn't have to submit a card. So we wanted to make sure that everybody had the chance to speak. That's why I'm asking to reopen public comment on this item in an abundance of openness to make sure that even though we heard it, that we have all of our viewpoints, especially from our labor partners, represented. Committee, we heard a preview of what will be done to correct the situation, to correct the missed mitigation measures. And I look forward to seeing the detailed plan, which is what this measure really does. It just puts forward that request to get that report back in writing. And with that, Mr. President.
Great. Thank you very much, sir.
Good morning.
Morning.
Morning, council members. My name is Bobby Oliveira, Jr. I'm the president for ILW Local 13. I'm a worker, family member, and resident of a community that surrounds both the ports of Los Angeles and Long Beach. So I come to you here today not only as a representative for our union, but as somebody that lives and breathes the air in the South Bay. I'd like to premise everything by saying we've got probably the best executive director for our port anywhere in the nation. Executive Director Soroka has taken a proactive measure to a multitude of issues that the Port of Los Angeles has faced that have unintended side effects and consequences for the surrounding communities. But with that said, sometimes you got to shoot from the hip and let the air out of the bag. And TRAPAC is one of these companies. TRAPAC has been a beneficiary of close to $1 billion in funds. $240 million initially out of the Port of Los Angeles, with an additional $300 to $400 million in a still uncompleted project. With all of this, we had a logo or a motto for TRAPAC, and that was promises made, promises broken. They made promises that the capital investment that was made would clean the air and that they would be a steward of the community. And what we've seen out of TRAPAC during this period of time is that they took the city's money and the port's money, they doubled the cost, and they went out and marketed their company for an additional $250 million in private investment coming from outside the United States. So when we talk about partnerships, the partnerships that this City Council and that the Port of Los Angeles undertake with the tenants and the customers of the port, a standard needs to be held. For companies that abuse this privilege of being tenants of the Port of Los Angeles, this City Council should give direction to the port staff to take a hard line with those employers, and TRAPAC is one of them. And I see the time running short, so I'll end this by saying clean air is most definitely a part of all of our future. We all want our children to breathe clean. We all want to have the ability to not send 5-year-olds to the hospital for asthma. But when multinational corporations are granted hundreds of millions of dollars, billions of dollars.
Sir, I don't want to cut you off at the time. I've got to extend that to the same speakers on every item if we do that. So we've got to stick to the time. But sir, thank you very much. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Okay, with that, colleagues, we'll go ahead and open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
All right, that item is approved. Thank you very much. And with that, we're going to go ahead and turn the floor over now to Councilmember Fuentes for a special presentation.
Come on up, Doug.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, colleagues. I have the distinction of bringing up to you a company that is doing tremendous work in the region and really for the state of California. Recently, Waste Management was the only recycling and waste company named to Fortune magazine's first ever Change the World list, which ranks companies who are doing well by doing good through positively impacting major global social or environmental problems in the country, and they're doing it with a competitive strategy. We read so often about companies that are not doing the right thing. I think it's important for us to highlight companies that are doing the right thing. For over 4 decades, Waste Management has played the dual role of service provider and environmental steward to Angelenos. In 2007, the company established a set of sustainability standards, much like we're doing in government, to include reducing the greenhouse gas emissions for its entire fleet by 15% by the year 2020. The company has converted 85% of its Southern California fleet to natural gas. Give them a big round of applause for that, because that is saving tons and tons of metric emissions from our environment. That is reducing greenhouse gas emissions from their fleet by 20%. As one of the largest employers in the city, Waste Management has taken on the world's toughest challenges in a sustainable way while doing well financially. It does pay to be a green steward. Now, thank you to all of you for your attention, but really thank you, Waste Management, for your ongoing commitment to our environment, leading the way, and really helping us accomplish what it is that council members like yourself, Mr. Englander, but Mr. Smith, who was here before, who helped establish Los Angeles's zero waste policy. Tremendous thing that this company is doing, great goals that the city of Los Angeles is setting, and ultimately the solutions that we need to be a more sustainable city of Los Angeles. So with that, I'd like to introduce Doug Corcoran. He is the Director of Waste Management's Southern California market area. Give him a big round of applause.
Thank you, before you speak, I got a question, because you're getting recognized for something phenomenal and fantastic, and the three of you, none of you are smiling, so you got to smile and be recognized, and the podium is yours.
They're all business, Mr.
They're all business all the time.
We were just waiting for instructions. Now we can smile. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Councilman Fuentes, and thank you, members of the City Council. I am Doug Corcoran. I work for Waste Management. There are some people who probably wouldn't think of Waste Management as immediately as an environmental company, but that's the way we think of ourselves. It makes perfect sense to us. We're the #1 recycler in the entire nation. As you heard, our truck fleet is running primarily on clean-burning natural gas, and we'll be converting the rest of it soon. Our landfills across the country are being certified as wildlife habitats. And that's just the way we operate. We're trying to make the world a better place. We work at it all the time. So when we get recognized by a magazine like Forbes, it's special to us. It means a lot. It means somebody else is seeing what we're doing. But honestly, today, for those of us who live, work here, and love this city, a recognition by the City Council in this way, and so that basically publicly everybody locally can hear it, well, I guess the only word there is priceless. We thank you so much, and thank you.
Great, thank you. Thank you very much. We're going to hear from the other two representatives as well.
I don't think so. Well, you want to come up and say something? Come on up, Kim.
No. I can't beat Doug's speech, so, and thank you guys.
So, colleagues,
right.
We have these essential services in the city of Los Angeles, and we partner with people like Waste Management, and we set goals on industries to make sure, as we're doing recently with the franchise agreements, that we're doing the best that we can in the service delivery, but also that we're having the least impact on the environment. I first had an opportunity to see some of their operations, and they were separate aside from emissions. They were really sensitive to the environment that they're in. A landfill that we went to go visit, just to go take a look at, rather than harm the wildlife that creates some of the problems, they had other wildlife, peregrine falcons, in fact, a falconer that was very cool, chasing off some of the wildlife. So they do what they do with tremendous sensitivity to the environment. They also do it with a real sense of stewardship. And for that, we wanted to acknowledge their tremendous work, their recognition in Fortune magazine, and keep up the good work, Waste Management. Thank you very much.
All right, fantastic. Let's give them a big round of applause. Thank you.
How about we come over here?
Okay. Where's Lily?
She's taking a picture.
All right, let's go ahead and take item 1. We have one card. John Walsh on item 1.
Mr. President, and before doing so, there's been a request from the department to continue items 1A, F, H, O, T, and AC to April 15.
Okay, that'll be the order on those when we vote on it. Mr. Walsh on item 1.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org or J. Walsh Confidential, tweeting at Hollywood Dems. Again, as far as nuisance abatement, code violations for on tenants, as I said, when you do a good job, I'm the first to congratulate you. I congratulate the mayor, I congratulate the city council, I congratulate all of you for fighting for tenants' rights. Do the right thing, and I'm very calm, and I'll tell you you do the right thing. But fuck up and you watch out.
All right. Having no other cards, we'll go ahead and open the roll on the remaining items under 1, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
All right. We have another presentation by Councilmember Joe Buscaino. Steve, the floor is yours. We still call you Steve?
All right, big smiles. Big smiles.
Thank you, Mr. President. We are really proud to acknowledge and support the efforts of the YMCA's Youth and Government program. Here before us, we have over 20 students representing 10 delegations in the LA County region. Let's give them all a round of applause. In fact, Channel 35, let's get a nice pan shot. Please stand up to our delegates who are here representing YMCA's Youth and Government program. Let's give them a round of applause. We love you, we support you, and we are proud of you. Since 1948, California's YMCA Youth and Government's Model Legislature and Court and Model United Nations program have provided outstanding civic engagement, training to over 70,000 youth in this state through its youth-run, youth-led model. Each year, the high school programs brings over 3,000 students together for 2 training conferences in Sacramento and 1 final conference in up north in Sacramento. Students assume roles from senators to members of the press corps. They draft bills in committee rooms and then debate them on the Assembly and Senate floors. In fact, one of my favorite events throughout the year is the bill hearing night, and was very active when I was a senior lead officer. Now I have my ledge team take part of the bill hearing nights in our district. They also hold hearings in court chambers and lobby fellow delegates to support their ballot propositions. Last year alone, over 1,500 of these delegates elected our very own Nicholas Gardner from the LA Bay, San Pedro, and Peninsula YMCA and Wilmington YMCA delegation as their youth governor. So let's give our youth governor, Nick Gardner, a round of applause. We're so proud of you, Nicholas. Under Nico's leadership, Youth and Government served over 1,000 participants from LA County, with over 90 statewide delegations participating overall, 23 of the delegations from the Metro LA area. This year, Youth Governor Gardner signed 58 legislative bills out of 200 pieces of legislation passed by the model legislature. Youth Governor Gardner served with a maturity well beyond his years, challenging his fellow delegates to volunteer in their respective communities to address issues including youth homelessness. And for that, we recognize you, Nico, for your commitment and dedication to the Youth and Government program. In fact, Nico has led my youth council in CD15. We want to recognize Nico Gardner for his efforts. Also want to recognize California YMCA's Youth and Government Model Legislature and Court 6-month Learn by Doing program. Its leaders and over 250 adult volunteers serve as an inspiration for building strong, civic-minded, engaged youth leaders in our communities. And for that, we recognize those contributions here today, especially one of our own, Amy Gerbert, who is one of those volunteers. How many years now, Amy, you've been doing this? 6 years. So thank you, Amy, as one of our hundreds of volunteers who help carry this program along. So with that, I want to recognize the Youth and Government, the California YMCA Youth and Government Model Legislature and Court, and bring up Brian Singer, who is the chairman of the Youth and Government Board and former youth governor. Brian Singer. Brian's with the Rakovich Company, and he's helping us redevelop our waterfront. So congratulations to you, Brian. Thank you so much. I want you to say a few words.
Mr. President, members of the council, on behalf of the over 3,000 delegates from throughout the state who participate this year, on behalf of the over 300 volunteers who participate in our program, on behalf of the board of directors, paid staff, volunteers, on behalf of the delegates who are here, I want to say thank you for this recognition. I want to thank the councilman for his recognition of the program, of his support of youth programs in his district and throughout the city of Los Angeles. I was a product of the program. I've been involved in the program for over 20 years, which I think is a testimony to the impact this program has had on my life. But I think the best ambassador to talk about the program is our youth governor. So I'd like to bring up youth governor to give you a few words.
Thanks, everyone. Of course, thank you, Councilman, for the recognition. It's an honor to address the Council to kind of talk about the impact youth in government has had, not only on our delegates, but on the greater Los Angeles community. Because for the past 68 years, our delegates have participated in a lot of unique different program areas. There's the legislature, there's the Department of Finance, there's the media, and they all walk away with a specific skill set. But above anything else, I'd like to say that our delegates walk away empowered. They walk away prepared to take on the world and make this world a better place. And to look for evidence of that, you don't need to look any further than the delegates themselves. In a country still trying to deal with race issues and equality, we stepped up and created the very first Students of Color Empowerment Forum, where our delegates could share common experiences and reach their full potential. In a world that continuously strives to be more kind and more fair, we stepped up and performed more than 500 hours of community service and partnered with Wind Youth Services to provide warm clothing to the 5,000 homeless youth in the state of California. We create public servants, and not in the sense that everyone that crosses through our doors will be politicians, but rather that our participants are driven and compassionate leaders ready to use their skills to serve others. And personally, I think we need more of that now, not less. That's why it's so important to involve youth in government, to support civic engagement programs, because diversity is more than just a symbolic gesture. It is the cornerstone of our democracy, and everyone's voice should be involved. So I really would like to thank the Council for this recognition. Thank you.
Nico.
Well done. Wow.
Nico Gardner. Maybe sit in one of these seats one of these days. And I know we have a number of former state legislators who are here today who also embraced the program as they took over our state capitol. So thank you to the members who served in the state legislature for your support as well. I want to recognize Nico's parents who are just gleaming with pride today, who are here, and thank you for Mr. and Mrs. Gardner for supporting Nico.
Can they stand up and be recognized as well?
Please stand. Thank you so much. Give them a round of applause. And I know we're here to recognize our future leaders. In fact, they're not future leaders. They're leaders today in their respective communities. At a time where kids during their summertime, they go out to the beach, play video games. It's Nico Gardner that travels to Colombia and teaches English to elementary school teachers. This is an individual that we're so proud of. And we know, Nico, you're going to do great things moving forward. So we want to recognize the 68th Youth Governor, Nicholas Gardner, for his commitment to the program and his leadership.
Hear, hear. Congratulations. Well done.
Thank you, Mr. President.
All right. No, thank you very much. It's very inspirational. All right, with that, let's go ahead and turn our attention while they're making their way around the back. Let's go ahead and go on to item 40, called Special by Cards by Mr. Previn. In fact, we'll take item 40 and 45 together.
Yeah.
Yeah, while he's making his way up, Mr. Koretz.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to ask that item 36 go forthwith.
All right, without objection, that'll be the order per Councilmember Koretz. Thank you so much. Mr. Previn, on item 40 and 45.
Sir, the items are completely unrelated. It's impossible to take them together, but I will speak on one and then the other if you like. Item number 40, sir, is from your committee. You are, in fact, the chair of the Public Safety Committee. This item, as I recall, is a series of fund transfers which you have to sort of follow the bouncing ball. When I had a cup of coffee this morning, I did follow the bouncing ball, and what's actually happening here, to my horror, is we are converting a series of sworn personnel time to overtime through a variety of, here, pass it over to the mayor, and then he'll pass it back, and let's mix it in with the grant, and then shift this way a little bit and that way a lot. 50,000 out of fire, 80,000 into police, 80,000 out of police, and 50,000 into fire. It is massively confusing, and it is a disappointment, I must say, to the public, because we are really looking forward to community policing and to individuals working on the clock, not bilking overtime. Because, sir, as this hall knows as well as any, people don't do well when they're under time pressure, when they're late, when they're sleepy, when they're in the double overtime. They have car accidents, they make mistakes, they discharge their tasers indirectly in the direction of Blumenfield, who wants to know about why are we getting 4,400 new tasers. And now we know because of the great meeting at the Police Commission, and they're moving forward with new guidelines for the use of force. For item number 45, I can simply say this. It is a track mapped item. Track map referring to the maps that we use for planning purposes in the communities. In CD2, we are going for vacation of public property. Once again, Mr. Krikorian is colluding with a private school that is a public charity who pay no taxes. It is improper. They should not be putting a private bridge over a roadway in a vacated airspace. Do not vote for it. Anyone who votes for it is making an egregious mistake, and we do not want a pedestrian bridge or a monorail for these youngsters to go across the street. It is not about traffic safety. It is about the track map. And thank you.
All right, so those two items are before us. We'll go ahead and open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
We're going to go ahead and take item 44, called Special by Cards. Mr. Gus, followed by Mr. Hunt and Mr. Walsh.
Okay, so this is the perfect example why nobody should ever participate in these murder rewards. There is a good man who's finally getting this money today. His name's on a public petition, Harlan Hobbs, and I want to thank Mr. Hobbs. But this guy put his life at risk, and the LAPD did everything it could not to pay him this money. The man used his vehicle, he sacrificed his personal safety, and the LAPD bent over backwards to not pay this man this $75,000 reward today. This is the perfect example for everybody else in the city to see that the city will do everything it can not to pay the reward, to find an excuse to pay less than the reward is worth. And at that, this thing puts you in danger. This money is taxable. It's not enough to get you out of Dodge because you are putting your life in danger. It's not enough to get you to safety. And in this instance, it must have been a discount. Kill one, get the other reward for half price, because it's not $50,000 a victim. It's $50,000 for the first victim. It's $25,000 for the second victim. And who did this nice man, Harlan Hobbs, nail? A bank robber. He was a bank robber before he was a double murderer who's now doing life. And this city did everything it could not to pay this reward. So how about having some courage and telling the public who you want to participate in the other rewards why you didn't want to pay this man until today? It's on Charlie Beck, it's on Eric Garcetti, it's on City Council. This man sacrificed himself, and then you sold his vehicle out from under him? This is the perfect example why nobody should ever again participate in these murder rewards. The city won't pay, and it doesn't care about you.